Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. It's the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Today is Tuesday, January 10th, and we are talking with Doug Upstone, of course, from Vegas Insiders Pro Daily. Doug Upstone, what's your website again? I'm sorry, I always get it confused.
No problem. VegasProInsidersDaily.com.
All right, this is, of course, the False Favorites and Top Dogs show that we do every week with Doug Upstone. Very popular show. Mike Brenner, my normal co-host, is out sick today, so he's taking a very, 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 very well-deserved rest. But this show is all about Doug's opinions, breakdowns, and picks. And as long as Doug is here, that's all that matters. Doug Upstone, the divisional round of the playoffs. The NFL playoffs this year is kind of tough, right? In the divisional round, we have a lot of kind of tricky situations. A massive favorite with New England. Then we have Dallas and Green Bay. That's a tough one. Pittsburgh, KC. That's a tough one. And then Seattle suddenly healthy and playing better. How you feel about the divisional round in general?
Well, I tell you what, no matter what, based on the fact that this is called False Favorites and Top Dogs, after last week, this actually have a chance, because last week we had 4 games that were decided by an average of 19 points, all to the favorite. So, we had no chance whatsoever last week, but I think we got some opportunity, I think, this week.
All right, yeah, and I'll be honest with you, because I guess the premise of this show, it's actually kind of not really fair to make you do this show during the playoffs as well, because it's only 4 games. What if you like all the favorites? And last week, Mike Brenner was on 3 of the favorites, and they cashed easily, and he looked like a genius. But if he was using this format, he wouldn't have been able to even make those picks, right?
Right. I mean, well, hey, you know what? It's all good. We're doing something that we love. We're on. People get to see us, and they can like us or hate us.
All right. I'm going to go on the record saying that I think this is unfair to make you have to do this format in the playoffs, because there's only 4 games, right? But anyway, let's hear what you have to say. Break down which games you think might have at least the underdogs with the best shot of a cover or maybe an outright win. What's your first top dog or false fave for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs?
We're going to go with a top dog, and it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Seattle goes into this game with Atlanta, and it's kind of in treacherous territory. Atlanta's going to come in rested, coming off the bye. They'll be at home. And the Seahawks really had a pretty easy win, but might not have been as easy if Detroit hadn't dropped so many passes. But when you get in these situations, now, just because you have experience, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to play better than someone else. But Seattle does have the experience coming into this game, and they have success also in the Georgia Dome. Whereas Atlanta, this is their first playoff game in 4 years. And especially on the defensive side of the ball, they're pretty young and obviously quite inexperienced. Now, when you look at Seattle this year, they were only 3-4-1 and 3-5 against the spread on the road. So you can look at that as one way. But 2 of those covers were as underdogs, which is the role they'll be in this game. Whereas Atlanta was only 5-3 and 3-5 in the Georgia Dome this year. Now, Atlanta is only 4-13 as a home favorite the last 3 years. So I think there's some actual value with Seattle taking the 4.5 in this case, and I'll take them as a top dog in this situation.
All right. Well, listen, Doug Upstone, in our opening lines show that I do with Mike Brenner every Monday, he really likes Seattle this week. I certainly agree with him, but you can't give that opinion because that's not the format of this show. Seattle definitely playing better. Obviously, Thomas Rawls had an awesome game. Russell Wilson suddenly, healthy and playing great. So I can see it. I don't know if I'd really want to bet against Atlanta here, but nice breakdown, Doug Upstone. What's your second top dog or false fave for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs?
We're going to go with a false favorite on this one, and it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, a lot of people must have been licking their chops when they were looking at the SBR odds pages, because they raised Kansas City, or they took Kansas City from +1 to -2 in this particular game. Now, a lot of that, of course, has to do with seeing Ben Roethlisberger wearing a boot Sunday night. So I think that changed some opinions. And as the fact that for those that like to bet on revenge games, this certainly fits the case, because Kansas City was whipped in Pittsburgh back in October, 43-14. But when I look at this game, I look at how the battle in the trenches, and at least in my opinion, I think Pittsburgh has the advantage on both sides, offense and defense, in this game. And we've heard already a lot about the mystique of Kansas City's always tough in Arrowhead. Well, you know what? I looked it up today. In the last 11 years, Kansas City is 44-44 straight up. I don't see that as a home field advantage. Pete, myself, okay, and looking at this. Now, granted, they had some bad teams during that time, no question about it, and they have improved under Andy Reid. But yet, when you look closer, the Chiefs are only 13, 16, and 1 as a home favorite with Andy Reid as coach. When I do a little more research, I find Kansas City is 2-11 against the spread in the playoffs. I think the Chiefs are a false favorite. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this one outright.
All right. Well, in this one, you are actually in agreement with Mike Brenner, who liked Pittsburgh on Monday. And actually, at that point, he was able to get +3 -125. That is not available right now. It's solidly 1 or 1.5 market wide. And this is a game that I also said that I like the under on. And in our show on Monday, I gave 45.5 on the under. Now it's down to 44 or 44.5. So that's a pretty significant move because, of course, 45 is considered by some people to be a slightly key number when it comes to NFL totals. All right. I like the breakdown. Doug Upstone, what is your third false favorite or top dog for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs?
Well, we're going to go something you just said, Peter, and it's a side, and the trend, as you just mentioned, is the Pittsburgh and Kansas City going under, and I'm in agreement with that. Now, we definitely have lost some value in this case because Pittsburgh, I believe, is 9-2 on the road. They're 14-4 in their last 18 road games, and 9-2 as road underdogs. So I think there's some value there. And so if I'm going to pick a score in this game, I'm going to go Pittsburgh 24, Kansas City 17. And that sounds like an under to me.
Wow. So your third pick was actually the under, and that was before I said it. You didn't just decide last minute to the last second to copy my pick?
Peter, come on. Do I look like this is an honest face or not? Come on, let's go.
All right, Doug Upstone. I'm liking it as well. Unfortunately, you're right. We can only credit you with 44.5. On Monday, it was 45.5. We discussed it in the Monday show. Nice, though. Great, though, to hear that you're in agreement with us on that one. And all right, Doug Upstone, I think you've given some valuable opinions here for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Good luck this week. We'll talk to you again very soon. And we'll definitely talk to you next week for the conference championships in the NFL playoffs. Thanks so much, Doug.
That sounds great. Thank you very much, and take care.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.